Good evening. I will call the meeting to order at 7:01. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. With that, points of pride. Superintendent.
So, May is National Mental Health Awareness Month, if you did not already know that. The high school and the counseling department has organized a series of activities throughout the month to help raise awareness, including distributing Mental Health Matters stickers and green ribbons. There's a weekly task talk, and there's been school-wide messaging, poster making, and activity stations, which will happen later in the month. RJ Wooden is our CTE Student of the Month for May, and Conval students were honored by the New Hampshire Student Film Festival. There were a total of 23 films chosen out of 81 submissions. Conval took 3. Yep. These films can be seen this Thursday at the Conval Film Festival that will take place at the high school at 7 p.m. May 5th. You should go to that. High school teacher Lance Levesque was recently awarded the title of Certified Professional Photographer from the Professional Photographers of America. So that is quite an achievement. And those are our points of pride today.
Thank you, Superintendent. Next up would be our report from the student representative. So since it's on the agenda, I'm going to use this as an opportunity. So right now, the board technically doesn't have a policy about having a student representative. However, New Hampshire RSA allows us to do so by board vote. Because we don't have a policy, in theory, that is something we should vote on every single year. With that, I would like to entertain a motion to have a student representative on the Conval School Board.
So moved.
Moved by Dick, second by Alan. Superintendent.
It's not my place, but might I suggest an amendment to include that for the 22-23 school year?
Just like I said.
So moved for the next school year, seconded by Alan. So the background on that is that I was contacted by the current president of the student council over at the high school, who asked Caitlin Beal, who asked a very good question about what is the student rep, what does that look like, what is their job, which then launched me down the, well, we have a policy on that path, but we don't. Other districts do, that lay out then the responsibilities and the expectations. So we'll be following up on that, but for now, this vote will actually authorize them to participate. So thank you for the motion. Additional questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Thank you very much. That will be effective for the 2022-2023 school year. Okay, with that, back to the agenda. Next, we have reached the first period of public comment of tonight's meeting. If you are a member of the public and present tonight, you may raise your hand to be recognized by the chair for a period of 2 minutes to provide public comment to the board. Is there anyone here this evening who would like to address the board? Hearing none, seeing none, there is a second period of public comment at the end of tonight's meeting. Next up, we have the consent agenda. There are 2 items on your consent agenda. The first is an acceptance of school board meeting minutes from April 19th, 2022. The others are personnel. That's 2 leave of absences and 1 resignation. Is there any questions or discussion? Or objections? We may have to go into non-public depending on how you phrase this question. Sure.
Yes, we do.
We do.
Yes.
They will be filled by
Yes.
That's correct. Thank you. Additional questions? Any objections? Hearing none, seeing none, the consent agenda is adopted. We are now on to the superintendent's report and presentation of business. Superintendent.
Hi, so we'll start with the monthly events calendar. And I do have a question regarding July when we get there. Anything additional? We have our community forum coming up next Thursday. Anything additional next week? The week of the 16th, anything additional? And then the week of the 23rd.
So we'd like to add an equity meeting at 5:30 PM on the 24th, please.
And then if I go back in time, Dr. Kriebel, what's your availability earlier on the 19th? Can you do 5:30? Or no, that's too early for strategic planning? Can I flip those two? Alan, does that work for you? Per the other request, we would like to move strategic planning to 5:30 instead of 7:30, if that works for folks.
Sounds great.
Communication will still be at 6:30. Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay, so then we're looking to June. Anything in the week of the 6th? Please, just keep in mind, graduation is the 10th. Yay. You are, of course, all invited to graduation, but if you could please let me know if you plan on attending or not, that would be great. And so we can make sure that you have a seat for yourself. So if you could maybe let me know, say, I don't know, by next Friday. Is that right? Next Friday? Next Friday. So Dick, you are definitely going to graduation?
Yes, Dick RSVP'd, I RSVP'd.
I did too.
Oh, you went to directly to
Lisa said to tell her, so,
Perfect.
sorry, was out?
Excellent.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. That's even better. Woohoo. All right. So graduation is the 10th. Anything additional the week of the 13th? How about the week?
Wait, I guess I would say the same thing for strategic planning. If we can, we'll move that one to 5:30 as well.
So the week of the 20th is the week that we are planning on doing our retreat. So of course we'll be back, Lori and I, not your retreat and the administrative retreat. No. Yeah, they do. They're just later. Of course, we will be back for the board meeting, but can we talk about those, the other two? You can cover the Thursday?
I can cover I can always cover that.
Okay.
My key will get me in, right? So that's fine.
Policy committee, would it be okay if we didn't have policy on the 21st? Okay. And ed committee? Dr. Ullman? Could you maybe do ed committee on the 13th instead of on the 20th? Go ahead.
Unless you want to have it without.
All right. And then, just the question about July. Typically, we have a single board meeting in July, and we do not have committee meetings. Well, I do think, though, that the strategic plan committee will need to meet. I just want to, because we have a whole bunch of people starting to make plans, so I just want to either get a thumbs up that that is what is going to happen, or no, we're probably going to have regular and ongoing committee meetings.
That's what we've done before. I think that's the right thing to do. The 5th normally would be the 1st. That's probably not a great idea.
Especially since you close.
Especially
we're
since we're
closed.
closed, right? So sure, we can do one. It's just a question of which of the Tuesdays it would be. If there's a preference between the 12th or the 19th. Yeah, right, and then
Well, I would prefer of course,
Does the
again, I
administration
don't,
have a preference?
we do, or, well, let me rephrase.
you have a
I have a preference,
Okay, there we
only
go.
because we do hiring and I don't like to have a lot of time go by.
Fine.
So my preference would be the 12th. However, if it's the 19th, we will live.
There we go.
Okay. So
So-
the 19th it is.
12th works for everyone or most people? Wait, if not, will I have a quorum on the 12th? I guess is the way to. I'm
We might
down
have to
3.
do this.
All right, hold on.
We can do the 19th.
Maybe that's 4. That's almost quorum.
people are going to be?
Who's gonna be? Who would be able to make a meeting? Who could make a meeting on the 12th? Yeah, so we won't have quorum. So
No, he didn't raise his.
the 12th of July. So no. So I will,
Oh, Alan.
but that's still not quorum. That's 5 of us. So
Let's,
because
we
I don't
can
know
leave it
about
the
Jim,
19th.
I don't know about Jim, and I don't know about Catherine. So
So yeah, no. So
and Kevin.
we're
I-
gonna
I-
leave it the 19th.
So let's do
for
the
now.
19th.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And then we'll have to find something in there for strategic planning.
Yes. Yes, we will.
Okay.
All right. So those are the monthly events. In your packet is our NIASC letter. So this was sent to Heather on April 15th. And it just commends the high school for doing several things that they have been working on since the last decennial report. I'm happy to answer any questions on that. Or if you have any questions about NIASC in general.
Any questions on the letter or the process?
The high school's to be commended. This is an incredible, it may not look like it on paper, but this is an incredible amount of work.
Yeah, congratulations.
I will also point out, though I'm not always a huge fan of the school ranking lists for various reasons, Conval High School was recently ranked 20th best high school in New Hampshire. If you then look at the 19 ahead of us and discount the one that had a whopping 26 students enrolled, and among some others, it should be noted that Conval was the highest ranked high school in this part of the state. Those others that slightly beat us out were the likes of Bedford, Wyndham, Portsmouth, Oyster River, I believe, Hanover, Lebanon. I may or may not. I haven't done the math yet. I'm suggesting that once again, pound for pound, Conval has hit above its weight. I believe is that the appropriate. I would also point out that we ranked above the likes of Pinkerton and other entities such as
Concord.
Concord and just so again, thank you to our leadership and to this board and obviously previous boards that have contributed to whatever those factors may have been that went into that. So this just highlights that.
So then the last thing I have on my report today is the school board requests. We do have a couple of requests out and about preschool. And those are the only ones I have of note right now in the website. We are having multiple conversations right now about the website. So the website is 7 years old. It has a limit. Everyone, yeah, it's not the easiest thing to work with at this point. We'll be talking about the website, don't you worry.
Thank you. Reports, teachers representative. Do we have a teachers representative here tonight? We do not. Policy, Krista.
Okay, so we have quite a few that we're getting through. 2 will be coming for a first read. There was one that we reviewed, and we're just gonna put it back on as 2022 is reviewed. The big one that we're going to bring back to administration is the one regarding electronic and digital records. Because there seems to be 2 different in signatures there seems to be two different components to that, and we want to get their opinions on the next steps regarding that. So that's gonna go to admin, and then we asked that they come back to see us on the 16th of August. If you have any questions, if you have any comments, concerns, email myself or Kimberly, and thanks.
Thank you, Krista. Communications. Alan.
Okay, I'll try to be quick. We're moving along on all 8 cylinders on this one, and thank you everybody for the amount of work that's been done. 3 areas I want to update is basically logistics, computers, email, setup, venue. On the online, everything seems to be going well. We don't seem to be running into any issues at all. The communications. We've put out as scheduled, we have 4 communications that are supposed to go out. One was the initial communication, which went out as scheduled. The main communication, which has gone out as scheduled. The agenda is in review right now, and that should go out by this Friday. And then the preview communication, that's in process, and that'll either go out this Friday or Monday. So all the communications to all the venues that we planned are going out, and they seem to be pretty well done. Email setup is running, and on the presentations, it looks like all the presentations are moving along as scheduled. I haven't heard anything wrong or negative about any of the presentations, so they seem to be coming along. The previews, the write-ups of the previews, thank you, Kimberly. We have 2 of the 3 write-ups, and that will be included in the preview communication. We're set for 5/12 at 7 o'clock. So I don't see any issues that have come up, and I haven't heard of any issues from anybody else. And thank you again for everybody who've done a lot of work on this.
Thank you, Alan. Strategic plan, that's me. So we had 2 meetings since this board has last met. Both were very productive. Thank you to the board members that were able to make those meetings, and to the members of the administration that helped us plow through those to get to our 5 priority areas. You'll be seeing a write-up on those soon. Obviously, the first one is learning. There is one on there about our staff. It's professional development. There's another one about efficient and effective use of facilities. There's one about support for students, and I always forget the second one. Diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility. Thank you very much. So those are the 5 areas under which all of the things that will now be turned into objectives and goals based on the triage that was done as a result of the survey responses and the focus group. So we will continue moving forward with that and get you some updates on that in written format so you can see what that looks like. The committee did look at a couple of different design ideas for what our plan might look like. And one of the ones that we liked the look of was out of the Baltimore school district. So just to give you a rough idea, it'll be that, which is a pretty less text heavy. It's got some decent graphical stuff like that to show progress on goals and things like that. That we think would be a good way to present that to the public. That's the update on strategic planning. Did I miss anything else that matters? No, right? Okay. Selectmen's Advisory Committee. We had that meeting the other night. That was a sparsely attended event. There were only, I think, 3 of the towns there. It was the chair's wedding anniversary, so again, I have no surprise there that he was not spending the time with us. The standard discussions that have been occurring at those meetings on the budget, on preschool came up. There were questions again on consolidation, reorganization, as is always on those minds. That was about it at that meeting. Okay, old business, legislative update. So of all of the different ones that are out there, the one that I will give you an update on, only because it's abundantly clear to me where it stands, the amendments aren't as easy to follow as I wish they were, is the one that would require us to have public comment periods, as we have for some time, except the language, as it currently reads, is as follows. Individual public comment time may be limited, but not to less than 3 minutes per person. It says the meeting can then proceed into substantive issues once all public participants have been given the opportunity to speak, provided, however, that the total time to hear all members of the public may be limited, but not to less than 1 hour. So, that doesn't mean we have to have a 1 hour public comment period if only one person shows up for public comment, but those would be the new parameters under which we would have to operate in that environment. So, yes, we'd have to change our policy. But note that this only applies to school boards. So this does not apply to your, I can't imagine why, does not apply to your local select boards, to your planning boards, to your zoning boards, to your conservation commissions, to your rec commission, to the legislature. This is literally only going to impact school boards. So there you have it. That is HB something something, HB 1195. That goes to the floor on Thursday if you'd like to reach out to your members. We have a policy that allows for public comment. We support public comment, but oh dear. All right. It is better than the original version of the bill, so I'll take this one if we have to have it. Next, we have two policies up for vote tonight. The first is policy DK, payment procedures. That was in page 9 and 10 of your packet.
Second.
Moved by Dr. Ullman, second by Mr. Dunning. Additional discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Policy DK is adopted. Next up is policy DAF. That is administration of federal grants. Is there a motion to approve policy DA?
Second.
Moved by Dr. 2 CFR 200 is some phenomenal bedtime reading, Dr. Ullman. All in favor of adopting policy DAF, administration of federal grants, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'd like the record to note my abstention, because if I don't, somehow that will probably come back to bite me. Thank you for those two. You have a flurry of first read policies as well tonight. The first is policy DID, fixed assets. The second is policy FA, facilities development goals and priority objective. Policy FAA, annual facility plan. Policy FE, facilities construction. Policy GBCD, background investigation and criminal records check. Policy JLCJA, emergency plan for sports-related injuries. Those are all in your packet tonight. Please review those. If you have comments, please get them to Krista and or the superintendent, both. Next is to accept a gift or donation. The Peterborough Elementary School requests authorization to accept from the PESPTO the following donation of an outdoor basketball hoop valued at $1,400 for the purpose of having a better outdoor basketball option for students.
So move. Second.
Moved by Dr. Kriebel to accept the gift, second by Mr. Dunning. Any discussion? All those in favor of accepting the donation, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. Thank you to the PES PTO for their donation. All right, the next item that's on your agenda came to me based on the retirement of a faculty member, staff member, and the question came about memorials, facility naming, all of that type of stuff. We currently actually don't have a policy that covers any of this. So the only two things that I'm aware of that currently have names is the Lucy Hurlin Theater and the Pierce School in Bennington, which of course predates the Conval School District. So needless to say, we don't have a policy on this. The decision to allow various plaques within the buildings has been left to the building administrators at this point. So that's sort of where that stands. There are policies out there. Several in New Hampshire have one based on some standard language that has been proposed that covers what we will or won't name and what the process is for doing that. And then there's also a related policy that gets into the discussion of memorials and such like that. So I bring this to your attention because there is a request for a plaque to be put up at the Peterborough Elementary School. It was unclear to me what the policy was. Lo and behold, there isn't one. And so I wanted to make sure that was on the agenda to let you all know that that request did exist. Absent a policy, as you know, we leave that to the administration to make those decisions. So I presume the superintendent would like us to have a policy and an opinion on that, and I agree with that. So
I would like there to be a policy if we're going to be naming buildings. Yes, please.
but not just buildings, but including placing of plaques in buildings and stuff like that,
That
other than all of that,
is
covering all of that.
Completely. Yes, please.
So that's where we stand on that. So I was leery of providing an answer to the staff persons that asked about what our position was on that, or about whether that could go forward without bringing that to all of you tonight. So you as a board have the authority to answer one of two ways, to make a motion that would allow that, or to instead put us into a position where before we could approve that, we would need to actually develop and publish a policy. And so I would open that to the floor for your consideration. Mr. Dunning.
I think it's a great thing to want to recognize staff members for their dedication. I think before we do anything, we should have a policy. This could be a Pandora's box where we would be naming rooms, hallways, walkways, gymnasiums, skylights. It would be forever because there are so many people that would be deserving of recognition. I think we should have a policy that clearly states how we're going to do this. So I would not support doing anything without a policy in place.
Thank you, Mr. Dunning. Dr. Ullman.
I think we have to think about the distinction between naming rooms, facilities after living people, or only naming them after deceased people. Also on a college campus, very often, it takes a certain amount of money to get a classroom named after an individual. So that whole business about, is a financial contribution going to be expected in order to name a classroom after someone?
Thank you, Dr. Ullman. Additional comments or discussion? So based on that, I would take my guidance from the board to inform the PES staff that at this time we would not be in a position to approve that request short of a adopted board policy. Is that the sense of the board this evening? Dr. Kriebel? Yes.
Yes, but can we also say that we can revisit it once
Oh,
we have a policy?
Without question. I don't think there's,
Yes.
I will absolutely.
Right, right.
Yes,
Yes.
just make sure that we're not saying no, we're just saying not yet. Thank you.
Correct. So we will make sure we get that on the agenda for the policy committee. I will provide you with the ones that are already out there in New Hampshire. I think Catherine may have copied you on those. If not, she did send them to me. And then we can discuss those both in the policy committee. And then I think that will be a policy that the board at large will have some additional interest in discussion beyond the policy committee. And Dr. Ullman, to your point, $3 million was the cost for naming the classroom building at Northeastern, the Shillman building. So that's your price tag for. Well, that'll be fine. I'm working on it right now. All right. Thank you very much for that discussion. Much appreciated. Other new business. You should have all been copied on an email from the New Hampshire School Board Administration, School Board Association, which is the call for, thank you, resolutions. So annually at their meeting, there are resolutions that are proposed by school boards around the state that the delegates to that assembly then vote to adopt or not. So this is your opportunity as individual members to draft resolutions that you would like this board to consider to submit to the NHSBA's assembly. So if you have resolutions that you would like to propose, please draft those. You can send those to Catherine Heck and myself. We'll make sure that the broader board sees those, and then essentially we will add that as an agenda item where we would discuss your individual resolution if you have them, and the board will vote whether or not to send that one forward to the assembly of the NHSBA. Questions? You can see the previous ones in that email. I think there was a link to the ones that exist. They have some standing ones, and then they do new ones every year. That's all. Is there any other new business? I feel like I had a second. I guess I didn't. That is all the new business I have for you this evening. Anything else from the board? Hearing none, seeing none. We are now at the second period of public comment. This is the second opportunity for members of the public to address the board. Is there anyone from the public who would wish to address the board tonight? Hearing none, seeing none. That will end the public comment period for tonight's meeting. Next, we are on to the approval of manifests. Lori.
I certify that manifests totaling $1,049,344.39 have been reviewed by me and found to be proper charges against Kentucket Valley School District for goods and or services received and have been properly processed prior to their submittal to the school board.
I move we approve the manifest as presented.
Moved by Dick, second by Dr. Kriebel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The manifest is adopted. We do have several. Well, you have two. We have two. Non-public items for you tonight. What are your two? Legal?
I just have a question.
So, personnel, sure. Yep. Thank you. Go ahead.
Yes.
I move that we go into non-public session under RSA 91-A, :3, Roman numeral 2 for negotiations and personnel.
Second.
Moved by Janine, second by Mr. Dunning. Tim? Janine?
Janine.